Hello, it's time to eat, and Chengdu is famous for its eats. This is one of the most famous eating streets around China, and we're going to go in. I'm going to try to eat as much as I can and find the most interesting foods that you could possibly get on the street. One of the more traditional style areas in the major cities in China, for sure. The architecture in here is almost as good as the food itself, and these back alleys here always present something interesting to the traveler that wants to go off the beaten path and find something new and exciting. When we talk about beef, that's almost like a hardtack from back in the old West days. This stuff here in Chengdu is so dried and so aged and so almost petrified that it's really unbelievable. This feels right here almost like a 100-year-old sponge that has dried out, and you can see inside there it's completely black, and the smell is almost like pure leather. But these are the type of things that you can get in Chengdu. You can buy this by a pound or yijin and take it home and chew on it all day. Spiced nuts, that's what Chengdu is all about. These nuts, walnuts, and these rolled up pieces of dough with sesame on them are very tasty. Think of it as being trail mix, but for Sichuan people. There's some sausages that are dried and spiced, and so on and so forth. Look at how petrified these meats are. That one there's got almost an orangish yellow color to it. That looks like BM. And this one looks more like hardtack, but there's many varieties of it, and some of it have a special rub in it. It's just that these are aged and dried rather than freshly cooked. And you can bet that some of these will be very spicy with the peppers rubbed into it. Not bad. If the meat is alright, you can buy it, but you just have to get over the look of it before you can indulge. Bamboo husks sealed up at the end, because inside you're going to have sticky rice with sesame, meats, nuts, whatever else you want to put in it. Boil it up, peel it off, and it's quite good actually. Cheap. About the stinky tofu aged. This was cooked up a few days back, so it's even more funky and even more devastating to the nose when you're coming around taking a whiff. These rolled up treats here are definitely Sichuan style. You can tell by the red pepper sauce. Now some of them use rice paper and some of them use tofu. Looks like this is rice paper rolled up, and inside of it can be meats, nuts, or any other type of ingredient that you'd like to put in there. Looks for a nice dish, you know, maybe like a spicy lasagna, but no cheese. Stacks of spiced tofu ready to go on deck. Dumplings, colorful, and meat on a stick with extra pepper and extra seasoning to dip it in, as if it wasn't greasy and seasoning and hot enough as it is. You see her pressing it in there, and she's also putting a rub on it too. This is after it's already been rubbed and cooked before. There's some squid there, a pile of it. They're lining up, they're going crazy. It's a fever pitch for the street food. Like a pan of jello, but it is not. These things are interesting here. It's rice and other powders pressed together, and inside of those wooden canisters they press it up and it comes out fully formed. Sliced pineapple with glutinous rice inside of it and a little bit of honey. Very unique dish. Only in China are you going to find rice inside of a pineapple husk with some honey on it. Looks good. These here look like patsies. They look like something straight out of Poland or Czechoslovakia. 叫什么？From the cesspool of Greece comes these black stinky tofu. We've seen this before, only in Chengdu you gotta add more to it. More spice, more garlic, and more lajia. All kinds of colorful fish balls in a stewy sauce. Each one has different flavoring and different ingredients wrapped up into it. There's some fake looking shrimp and tofu, you name it. You can get it in Chengdu. Seaweed there, so on. That's the style, variety, and oddity in their culinary street food. To be added with the noodles stacked up, you got tomatoes, you got meat, and you've got your greens. Rice noodles in a bowl. Get it with meat, without meat, same deal. So what about the cooks? Well, they have to eat too, but they're not eating the food at the stand, which goes to show that eventually you get sick of eating the same thing every day. Hey! Would come to this. Chengdu is famous for rabbit. There's some unspiced rabbit heads, and there's rabbit heads with an ungodly amount of pepper. 8 RMB per head. Okay, Chengdu food is a little bit different than Chongqing. Similarities but different. It's kind of like saying that Boston and New York have the exact same food or the exact same beer or whatever. It's similar but not the same. Think of it as a cousin. You've got the same spiciness, but you've got some different ingredients in here. Like this is like a dried chicken. You can get a pork chicken or beef. And some of the other stuff, like the noodles themselves, are a little bit different. And the sauce and spices and oils are slightly different. So Chengdu and Chongqing, not the same. Chengdu, Sichuan style. Chongqing has its own style, its own. Another Chengdu dish here. It's sliced beef with onions, shallots, peppers, chives, and of course a little bit of the chili peppers. And it's got a nice little sauce there, a little bit vinegary. These noodles are more of the Japanese fat noodles, like the udon noodles in there, that make it interesting. You'll notice that in Chengdu, Sichuan food is a little more interesting than some of the surrounding areas, but not bad. The sliced beef is really good, and the spice adds a little bit to it, but not too spicy, so this is a good dish to have. I'm eating at one of the traditional Sichuan restaurants in Chengdu, and the menu is quite interesting. Very exotic dishes, distinctly Chengdu style, lots of rabbit and lamb and other kinds of meats that are in stews and in coconut there inside the husk, soups and stews and barbecues and all kinds of interesting dishes that remind me really of when you cook with a Dutch oven and you put it in the dish and you bake it. You don't necessarily have to fry it, and that's how a lot of these dishes are cooked. They come out, interestingly out of an oven or an environment where they're going to get steamed, and that goes for the soups too. They slowly simmer. This is a traditional restaurant with an opera. I'm going to try and do the Chengdu opera thing. Like I said, with Chengdu, Sichuan cooking, a lot of spice, a lot of hot pots, a lot of dry pots, a lot of baked stews and simmered dishes with a ton of ingredients in it. There's some eggplant right there. It's a simple dish and it's great. And that's really sums it up, kind of, is that you get it's very woodsy type of countryside dishes that are hearty, fill you up, and are very tasty. Simple dish. Those udon noodles, chewy, big, with a little bit of spice in there. Perfect appetizer. The chopsticks here are very backcountry, or very outdoorsy, very thick. Very interesting that the Kung Pao chicken in Chengdu is better than it is in Chongqing. But that's often the case. You'll find contradictions like that. This Kung Pao chicken has the stickiness, the starchiness, and the gooey texture that is just perfect for this dish. Same thing goes with any other city in the West. For example, few people know that the best Italian food that you can get is in St. Louis, Missouri. They have hands down the best lasagna I've tasted on planet Earth.